Boy, I reset for this shot. I hope everything's been in frame so far. Not a professional video man. I make video games. It's not the same. But here's a quick painting tip that I wanted to throw at you as you're thinking about putting together your boards. Color scheme, right? Okay, so the mat that I picked out for this is Alien World mat from P-Work War Games. P-Work War Games. They're in Italy. They have gorgeous textures. I love their stuff. Shipping's really fast. Like, not promoted, but it's worth getting good stuff. And I want you guys to have cool tables too. Which is like kind of pinky purple. It's weird. But I knew that that would look interesting and different to all the Hoth and Hoth boards that you normally see in this game. So I knew I had a purple pink ground, so I went with a yellow accent on my buildings, okay, even on the power core. And you can see, of course, the yellow stripes here and here and here. Now, yellow is kind of an obnoxious color to paint, as we all know. Why would you pick yellow? Well, Vallejo Dark Sand from the model color range, extremely opaque, and also not super saturated, which is great. If you need it more saturated, you can add a little yellow ink to it, or do like a second coat with yellow ink, sort of thin down with some medium, and that'll get you really good results. But I knew yellow was a good choice, one, because it contrasted with the purple pink ground, right? Yellow is opposite from purple on the color wheel, so they look nice opposing each other. I knew it would be fairly opaque, so I could do it in one coat, which is cool for terrain. You don't want to mess around for too long, especially when you've got a deadline, which I had on all this stuff. So I knew it was opaque. I knew it would contrast, which was cool. And then 3, the sort of colloquial context of yellow is like it's a safety color. And this is a mining base, so, you know, stuff would be yellow in places to be like, don't run over this thing, you know, whatever. Caution, don't run into building. And then I just worked it a little bit into all the main industrial structures, the power core, the Nova Processing Center, the gravel pits. But then I also put it on the barricades just a touch, right? Just across the bottom, just across the bottom. Real simple, not overthinking it. I didn't do it on the prefabs. I could have, but I kind of ran out of time and patience. And when I'm out of patience is usually when I stop working on terrain. And really everything. Yeah, okay. So that's the detail. And then these patterns, really simple. Just buy yourself some masking tape off of Amazon or at Harbor Freight or wherever. You can get like a bundle where they've like pre-chopped it into different widths. Just the cheap stuff. You don't have to go in for like Tamiya model masking tape and all that sort of stuff. Because you're going to use this and then you're going to chuck it. But when you have a bunch of different widths, it's really easy to get consistent modules, which is really key to like science fiction art in general. You want to have repeated elements that are fixed widths apart. That really makes something look machined and science fiction-y. So like this little stripe down the middle, right? All I did was I took one piece of tape, marked that off, took another piece of tape, marked that off, and I knew these would be the exact same width. And then I used a thin piece of tape to put where this line was, and then put another piece of tape to be the actual masking, pulled that thin one up, and then I knew I had a controlled width here. So I could make all my little details, like this little gap on that power core guy is the same as this little gap right here, right? Just because I used the same size piece of tape. And I don't have to measure, I don't have to mark up my model, I just literally just take the exact same width piece of tape and plonk it in there. Same with these gaps, right? And this width, or this width from the top, and this width are all done just because I had a piece of masking tape that size. So, you know, it's a real easy way, and even on complex surfaces, right? This has relief. It has different depths because of the different plates. I'm able to sort of just like lay it, like work it with my finger, get it into all the little grooves good enough, and then you just sponge it, like that gets you some good texture, and then kind of go back with a little brush and kind of fill in if it's a little too loosey-goosey, and then you're pretty much done. Like you don't even have to wait for it to dry, just yank it off. If there's any little bleed underneath, you just clean that up with a little gray in this case, because the buildings are gray. You know, and I could have gone much further, but remember, this stuff is terrain, right? It's supposed to be kind of the background of the event. It should be interesting, but you still want the models to pop the most. So like gray with a muted yellow is a good combo. The rust tones kind of pull it all into the same family. And then I did a little post shade with like a dark purple. I used black. I used Warlord purple from Valeo's Game Color range, which is really close to like the purple pink that's in my mat, which is also like a good like, right, tie the room together kind of move. So the mat's kind of purple pink. The little shading around the bottom of all the buildings from like dust from the wind, like blowing this weird alien sand onto these things all the time, and then into the cracks and stuff. That'll all sort of tie it together. It'll look right sitting on the mat together, and it'll, you know, then still pop at the top because it won't have that fade, but it just sort of brings it all into the same universe.